On this episode of Real Estate on the Rocks, we're going to talk about the hottest real estate marketing trends in 2020.
Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
I'd like to take this moment to welcome everybody back to Real Estate on the Rocks podcast, and I'm joined in the studio today with Marshall Tucker.
Hey everybody, that's me. How you doing?
Okie dokie. And we've got James the Butcher.
Well, if I just say hi, he's like, come on, elaborate a little bit. Who are you? Hey guys.
What's going on?
James the Butcher Mendez, the new guy.
I still don't have that sound effect yet.
No, you need that. So
I do.
All right, fellas, Real Estate on the Rocks, bar's open. Let's get into it today. We're going to talk about the hottest real estate marketing trends in 2020. Some I agree with, some I don't agree with. It's not about what I agree with. It's about what works for you. So if I don't agree with them, typically I've tried it and it doesn't work for me. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, not that it won't work for you. It just didn't work for me. More than likely because I didn't pour into it.
Wasn't consistent all year round.
I picked what made me comfortable.
Did it for
So
about 2
therefore, it
weeks.
didn't work.
And we thought,
right?
well,
Yeah, so I didn't see results immediately, so I quit. Right?
That's the best way to go. That's the best way to succeed with stuff.
In real estate,
Instant
it is.
success? Nope. No. All right. Hard pass.
In
Hard
real
pass.
estate, it is. So, which marketing efforts are real estate professionals using at this time? So, a recent survey was done of realtors to help understand, just marketing trends in the industry right now. What's working for people, what's not. Lots of people were surveyed here and got into it, and so some of these surprised us. Some of them were able to put a finger on why they're at the bottom of the list. But social media, obviously. There's about 80, it looks like almost 90% of folks using that. Professional photography, which, James, you've got an opinion about that. We'll come back to it. Email marketing, direct mail, listing videos, single property websites, print ad or billboards. I can't believe is that high. Well, you have billboards in there with print ads.
right.
Matterport 3D tours, virtual staging, blog writing, and then PPC. Pay-per-click.
Last place.
Last place. Yeah. So let's go. We'll try to run through these as fast as possible. Social media, no brainer. Everybody's using social media these days. I don't care if you're an agent of 18 years old or an agent up to 80 years old. Everybody it seems has a presence of social media. I'm very surprised of the 10% that doesn't. And usually when we run across those, it's really evident why. Maybe they've shut it out. They don't buy into the new way a lot of folks are doing business these days. They haven't bought into the social media craze. It's just a fad. We've heard that before.
That's awesome. That's my favorite.
Yeah, we're here to say that it's not a fad. That's the way the new world is. It's just social media. Business is about grabbing attention. Attention can turn into money. Attention can turn into you leveraging more relationships to help more people.
Yeah.
Whenever I mention money, everybody kind of okay. So I always have to back it up with that we're helping people.
So I don't know if they differentiate in their questions for social media, whether they're talking about just publishing things in general, or if they're actually saying putting marketing dollars behind that in targeted.
Like Facebook ads.
Yeah. Like actually, LinkedIn.
Instagram ads.
Instagram.
LinkedIn,
right. Paying for content curated, and good copy and everything into a actual marketing plan.
Yeah.
Or if it's just, I post stuff online.
No, this
is vastly different things.
This is more of that right there, that I post things. I have social media accounts and I'm buying for attention.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's not gauging. 90% of our business is not running Facebook ads.
Yeah.
It's annoying that half of the business is, because all I see is Facebook ads. Now I did take to my Facebook the other day and said, if I'm seeing your ad, you're doing it wrong. I didn't know about targeting changes because I don't handle the Facebook ads anymore. So here I am, but I'm seeing so many realtor ads. Yeah, they came after me with pitchforks. So many realtor ads in my feed, it's like nerve wracking. It's just kind of, and if I see that, maybe it's just that I'm friends with more realtor, what's the consumer seeing? And
Just
like these local groups that are like the buy sell trade groups that people are in, that realtors used to get in and put houses or homes. Sorry, Marshall. Marshall hates the word houses. Anyway, so used to list their homes in or talk about real estate or talk about something to where they could build into referencing themselves in real estate. Like you've been eliminated from those groups,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
For a reason. So everybody's on
spam
to.
it.
The other day they had on a article saying that one of the local high schools that now you can graduate from the local high
saw
school
that.
with a real estate license. So that's what they're going to do is that you can get your license the whole time you're in high school. And as soon as you hit 18, you're able to take the test and get going, which most people right around that graduation date are either turning 18 very soon or have turned 18. And so it's going to produce more. And once again, it was split. Everything, that comes up in this business is split of like the realization that, like people are like, oh, that's not fair to let them come straight into the business. Like, I don't get where the fairness comes from because they're going to find out really fast how hard this business is.
The real world.
Like everybody talks about, everybody thinks this career is easy. If that's what's being sold to the high school kids,
Yeah.
But I forgot where I was going with this thought. Go ahead.
I don't know where you were going with it either. I was listening to you.
So no, I'm just saying with the social media stuff, like those kids are really good at social media. But yeah, this is more of it's not about Facebook ads. It's not about all this stuff. It's more about
Just posting.
Yeah, who's got a presence on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so even my parents have a presence on Facebook.
Yeah.
All
Only
my
one I
sisters
know that
do.
doesn't is my dad.
Yeah, which he relies on you.
Right.
But the minute you sold him on the benefits of being on it, and there was no you, like I can't handle your stuff, you're gonna have to do this. He'd more than likely get somebody at the restaurant to
Well,
take
yeah, he
care
has
of
a
it.
business Facebook, which I
Right. And like my mom absolutely loves it. My mom's 70 years old and absolutely loves it because she's connected with a
Politics.
bunch of people from not only just politics but a bunch of people from high school.
Yeah.
And some from
true.
college and things like that. She's connected with people when my dad was in the Army, and it was just, when they were in Vietnam, and there was a bunch of wives left behind, to run around chasing the kids while the husbands were overseas fighting in the wars, somewhere in there, someone's going to mistake that, and that's not going to be PC, what I just said. However,
James is already over there clinching.
He's already over there. But I'm not real worried about that at this point. Professional photography grabbed me as number 2.
my God.
Like, that's the thing that I was just kind of like, what?
That's not a marketing thing. That literally, we just said this earlier. That's not a marketing thing. That is literally the baseline of competency in real estate.
Right.
Like I can't, and I just ran into three listings yesterday of cell phone pictures. Not even good cell phone. Like,
Not
how are
even
you selling real
trying.
estate and
Not
you don't
even
have
trying.
like a more than like a 5 megapixel camera on your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Throw the flip phone away. Hire somebody to take good pictures.
No, it's like
I mean, they were blurry.
The same-
You couldn't see anything. They were
Yeah.
dark. It's like, for the
it's
love
the
of
same
God.
camera they keep catching Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster with.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm like, come on.
and they're
killing
horrible.
me.
The angles are horrible. Like
Yeah.
we took a listing on an agent that couldn't sell a property, right?
Yeah.
And he obviously had photos. They were not professional photos, but they were done probably with a nice iPhone or something. And so they had potential, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't clean them up. He didn't, and that's not your job to sit there and clean those things up. It's
Yeah.
your job. You're making enough commission to hire somebody to come in from $100 to $200 and shoot professional pictures for
Yeah.
you. You can get a whole wrap up with
Whole package, yeah.
pictures, a virtual tour video, usually a one-off website, which is in here, a
Text
one-off
codes.
website, text code, everything else for under $200.
Yeah.
Now, if you're selling a $200,000 house, and your commission is $6,000, you can afford $200 to put towards the marketing to
Yeah.
get that $6,000 to get your clients sold, get their money and them on their way, and you collect your commission, which is $6,000. All right, I won't bring in the broker cost because that's irrelevant as well.
And you save
Even if
time.
you got a 50-50 split and you're making $30,000, I had to do my math there. Let's have to say-
33.
if you're doing $3,000, you can still afford
Yeah.
$200
Yeah.
for the one essential thing in your marketing tool chest.
And then
war
imagine the
chest.
time you save from driving across town and setting up, taking pictures,
Yeah.
and editing it and coming back.
And maybe agents don't know that, but how it is here in Austin, Texas, and surrounding, where we're a member of 5 MLSs, all the photographers we deal with have MLS keys. They're a part of the board, so they
Yeah.
can go in on their own time. We book the appointment for them.
Yep.
They tell us the time. We tell the seller. They show up. We tell the seller. We give them a sheet how to prep their house for pictures, for photos. Remove because photographers typically don't touch anything. So if you leave all your undergarments
Toilet
on
seats
top
up.
of the
They'll
on
take
top of the
pictures
thing.
of
If
it.
you have toilet seats up, or your swim trunks on the ground of the bathroom or whatever, they're gonna take a picture of it,
Yeah.
and then you got to eliminate those pictures so you don't get the full
Party supplies on the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of party supplies there, Marshall?
The one with the T-Rex inflatable suit.
Yeah.
Did you see that on the MLS?
Yeah.
That one, that was a good one.
That was
like
great.
spice, but things like that can actually work as long as the MLS doesn't, throw a little conniption fit to toss things in there to kind of have fun, spice up the listing, because you're going to get more attention to it, and even if people aren't going to buy
which
it.
Which
they'll look at it
that one did. I would
quickly
love
over.
to see like the aftermath of that. Not aftermath. That's an
Yeah.
extreme word, but like
It's gonna get quickly.
all the
played
people
out.
that complained about it.
Yeah.
That just my head went straight to the guy that made the video with the Old Town Road, right? So he just came out with another one. And
Nice.
it's
I haven't seen
decent.
that
Like
one.
I've typically I can only watch half those videos because they just get a little bit gitchy for me.
Yeah.
And so, but it was a good idea. People will like it. It had a
Yeah.
lot of comments already. But his Old Town Road one went viral to where news stations picked it up. All this other cool stuff picked it up, right?
Yeah.
But he got turned into the board apparently so many times. They didn't like the use of boobies. Lighting looks like boobies. It's like when that picture that went viral or whatever, that was the lighting fixture that was on the wall and it looked like a pair
Oh,
of
yeah.
boobs.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
I thought he was saying movies.
And so he got some stuff, complaints from the more, I would say, stuffier part of the traditional side of the business that refuses to see that the business is changing. It's becoming more of a
worry.
relationship business.
They'll be
More
out
of
of
a
the business soon.
relationship business and a more fun business to be around.
Yeah.
Real estate doesn't have to be stuffy anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it is stuffy. It is more of those upper end agents, the luxury agents that don't have a big personalities. Any luxury agents listening to this that have a huge personality, I'm sorry. However, what we're finding in our market is there's some of the stuffy folks around that traditionally have been in the business 20 or 30 years and constantly remind us that they've been in the business 20, 30 years. They don't have a personality towards anything joking around in real estate. It's very serious business. And they feel that we're taking something out of their pockets by being funny, adding a twist to the business, or doing videos like that. So direct mail. And direct mail's still on the list. You actually,
I don't like direct mail. Just as a consumer, I've never gotten anything. I take that back. Coupons. Coupons is the only thing I've ever taken from direct mail. Everything else I've thrown away because I don't find it any.
That's the point.
It's just a generic thing to me, and it's not marketed towards me. I don't see any value. Nothing stood out. It all seems like the same, just trash marketing.
that's
And
because
so I always throw it away.
what you've been doing or what you've seen people doing in our business is the same boring shit everybody else does.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the part of the repetitiveness of our business is that nobody really jumps out and does anything. But if you were to send something out that was a little bit better idea for marketing, I believe, for mail,
Maybe.
direct mail, like a recipe.
Or send out cards.
summer
a picture of the
recipes,
house.
like
For me,
every-
that would work, or something geared towards like a veterans thing, but talking about me as a veteran, not about how great you are, how many veterans you help, how many ribbons you supposedly have, or if you're talking 90% on your marketing about you,
Yeah.
I don't care. It has no value to me. Good for you. You want a Twinkie? Like I don't know you. I don't care about you. Your trash tabloid, mailer doesn't help me in any way.
Okay, so jump back on topic real quick. Well, it's still on topic, but you're starting to take this personal.
The theory
It's an
of
attack
it
on me.
is you read
No,
the
I'm
name
saying, but
and
that's
throw it in
that's what it's
trash.
been though. That's what it looks like.
Right.
So I'm saying I'm agreeing. If you turn it around towards the consumer and stand out with that, I think that would probably work a lot better.
Right. And so things I've done in the past is like I sent out the cards one time for what's that?
Banner season.
No. Well, we'll get into banner season in a minute, but I've sent out cards that were like the time change one, right? It's no excuse. There's no reason for me to send that card out other than it's a touch. It's a marketing and it's a way for me to get my face out there.
Yeah.
But what I did, it had a bulldog on it, right? And so I thought about ways to keep that card around because typically when mail shows up, you've got about 8 seconds when they're going through the mail on your way down to the trash can to be compelling or to stand out or for them to hit their RAS
Yeah.
A reticular activating system that next time they see you, they're going to remember that postcard you sent, right?
Yeah.
So I had this bulldog on it, and it was like, had a little caption to set your times ahead or whatever. But it was a funny saying and was relative to the bulldog, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I was also thinking that when people were checking their mail, sitting there and like they had their kids in the back or something, that they could take the card and hand it to their kid.
Yeah.
Right. And that the bulldog was that cute that they would hand it to their kid to look at. And that kid would grasp that card and then want that card because it had that cute bulldog on it. And I did it with something else too, and I can't remember, but it was very kid focused.
Yeah.
And it was so they could hand it to their kid and they keep it around. Right.
Yeah.
Or they put it on their refrigerator because it was cute or whatever else. But it's got right next to that, it's got my face on it. Right.
Yeah.
Or it says Snowburger Realty Group on it.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so every time they see that, they're going to associate with that. And next piece of content that comes out, they're going to see it again, right? And then I'm going to build mind share. If I do that every quarter, if I did it every month, they obviously it gets expensive. But if you put a metric on it, and then you get one listing from it, if somebody calls you and say, in my neighborhood where I'm doing that, the average home is $450,000, that's $12,000 plus in commission. That definitely takes care of a year of 12 months of mailing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the end goal in this is to mail out to gain mind share. You're not going to see a particular instant ROI on anything that you do with direct mailing. Direct mailing is a campaign that you have to start and stick with one of those things that's genuinely around 18 months.
Yeah.
Like you have to stick with it. Farming. I mean, that falls in the thing of farming. We know a lot about farming.
Yeah.
And so stick with a mailing campaign every month for 18 months. You will get phone calls, especially if you start gearing your marketing in. You can do the same piece every month that goes out that's just market stats for the neighborhood. People will look. People are actually interested in market stats or in what their neighborhood is
I'd
doing.
read that.
The average home, I used to do this postcard that was, and I say used to, and I stopped doing these things, and it takes podcasts like this to bring me back to like, why aren't we doing that anymore when it worked?
Yeah.
Just
get busy with stuff.
Right. We get
Things
busy
fall
and
off,
we forget. We get so busy we can't continue to do that because I don't have a full-time marketing department because we are our own marketers, right?
Yeah.
This business. We're we're not single agents, we're a team. And so we market each other, we market the team, whatever else.
Yeah.
But like, it's important to do those things, but I would do the stats. Like this is what the average home sells for in our neighborhood. This is how many days it takes. And I also did one where it was like the current listings in the neighborhood, right? So they could see the comparison because people don't know about comps. They don't know that it's a comp. The consumer doesn't know that it's a comp till after, like we do, till it's actually sold, right?
Yeah.
They think comps are the other properties listed in the neighborhood. So when we get that call, they're like, yeah, but so-and-so's house, $450. Like that's $450,000. Well, that's the asking price.
Yeah.
We've got to wait
Till it's actually sold.
to see what it's sold for. Because if that drops to 440 or 435, then that's actually our comp.
Yeah.
We can't go comp at $200 a square foot when it only sold for $190 a square foot.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's important. So moving on to listing videos. Marshall, what do you mean by listing videos?
Taking videos, virtual tours of the properties, and walking around and showcasing all the features.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would like to see more of the MTV Cribs kind of style one, as opposed to just. I mean, if you're going to do the whole 3D where you can, the
Then let's do
interactive
it.
one where you can, guide yourself through, like that's pretty cool. Cause then you're on your own time and you can actually just visually look around, in a house. But yeah, what's his name? There's a guy up in Canada who did kind of like that same, almost style as an agent. And I think he was doing, not just his properties, but other ones.
Doug McKenzie?
I can't remember. Maybe. I don't know. But
Doug McKenzie is that guy. I was like, hey, take off, eh?
oh,
You said it like
I can't remember his name, but it seemed like a good idea. He introduced it almost following that crib style, theme and introduction, and you followed around through the house. It was pretty cool. Those are interesting. I mean, for me to actually watch.
They are
them.
interesting. And once again, I told you that Ryan, our friend up in New York, is doing that stuff. Ryan Baker is doing that kind of stuff. His videos have gotten better than ours. Like ours were on point for a long time. And then we've stopped doing a lot of things that we're doing because we're so busy and we're not having to worry about, I'd say, attracting as much business as we used to because the businesses, we've cast such a wide net over the past couple of years that people come to us to list things. We get a lot of come list me's and we've got the phone ringing from other ways or buys or sells or whatever else. And so we haven't been doing a lot of these marketing things. It's not that we don't know about them or, I wouldn't say that on some of these topics, we're definitely not the authority. However, we know they work and we've tried them in the past and they've helped us get to the spot we are now.
Yeah.
Right. So they do work, but Ryan Baker's doing good work up there.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
killing
his
it up there.
videos a lot. So Ryan, if you're listening, post one of your videos, get him to post some stuff on Hyperlocal Agents.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're not a member of Hyperlocal Agents, go seek that on Facebook, join the group, and then get in there. We need more content on there. We need more questions on there. We need more funny things on there. We need more hyperlocal stuff that you're doing in your market. So if you want to share it. Don't be afraid to not get likes and not get comments. People are looking at it. Don't worry about that stuff. I'm going to post one of my latest videos I just did for a barbecue joint on Wilco Eats. So I'll post that one too so people can see what I'm doing. This thing got like 85 likes, which isn't that much, right? But the important thing is it got 18, or I think it's up to 20 shares now. So 20 people shared it. So that means I can't even track where that goes now. But the YouTube counter on the back end of this has got me like at 1,000 views, and it's just been 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that
bad.
stuff works.
growing.
That's hyper local.
Yeah.
People want to know about something to do locally. We've done a pretty good job about going after Wilco Eats and going after local restaurants. And we're really growing that side of our brand right now. And all that does is raise awareness and gets more attention, and people know that we're realtors, and they circle back to us, and it builds that parasocial behavior with them, which brings them back to the table, and they already trust us. Now we just got to get them to like us.
Yep.
You know? They think they already know us. They think they already trust us, or they have a good reason to trust us. We're pretty trustworthy, I'd say.
Yeah.
Not you.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not you.
Definitely not me.
Not in that
you know.
sweater.
Hey, don't hate on the sweaters, man. They work.
Anyway, Marsh, looks like you're itching to say something over there.
I was just thinking about the listing videos, and there is a difference in quality. So if you got Blair Witch and you're shaking, the sun's blinding everything, and the audio, the wind's blowing, and no one's going to watch it.
Yeah.
But if it's one of those cool videos where it zips up to the door and then slowly peers around the corner and then zips into the kitchen, and you got the little lines where it outlines the property or showcases some nearby places like parks and stuff. Those are cool.
Cool. I agree with that 100%. However, I'm going to back it up a little bit because the Blair Witch Project thing, if that's what it takes you to get to start doing the video, do it.
Do it.
You've got to start somewhere, right? And so don't worry about equipment. Your phone does great enough. Like I've got an iPhone, and it just does great video. I've had, from the time I've had an iPhone 7 up to the iPhone I have currently, I shoot 90% of my video on there. I've got some pretty awesome DSLR cameras that I don't use. I use my iPhone for everything. I can edit there, so I can shoot the video, edit it, get it out all within an hour. Sometimes I can do it within 30 minutes. I can go shoot the restaurant I'm at. I can hop back in the truck. I can edit it real quick, and I can post it and keep it under the 2-minute video, which keeps it interesting for Facebook. Right? We're going to do longer form video coming up soon. But I wouldn't discourage anybody saying like nobody will watch that, because people will watch it, but you'll train them over time not to watch your videos if you continue that route.
Yeah.
The thing is to get better, but to start somewhere. If you're uncomfortable shooting video, I would start with something like, I'm not on Snapchat much, but I know that you can Snapchat, Facebook stories, Instagram stories. You can start there, and you can do 15 to 20 second videos and pop them out there, and they don't live on forever. Yeah. So if they were embarrassing, post them anyway. They're gone within 24 hours.
Yep.
Right? And nobody remembers after 24 hours in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Or they can't go back to find it. I
they
shared
can't.
something, and they're like, "Oh, the story expired." I was like, "Why didn't you look at it when I sent it to you?" Like, "Oh, I was busy."
Yeah.
You can
And
reshare
really,
those, right?
you get yourself in the
There's
groove
a whole
with that
library.
stuff. You get yourself. I'm sorry, guys. You want to talk?
I was saying you can reshare those stories. Like at least on my phone, it saves all the stories.
Oh yeah.
So
you can
go back
as a
and resend
person.
them.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I
you
s-
can. Yeah.
I sent somebody else's story to somebody, and they didn't consume it in time,
Gone.
and now it's gone. And they're like, "Well, what was it?" I'm like, "I don't remember exactly what it was. I'm sending different stuff."
Yeah. And so the Facebook stories, I like Facebook stories. It keeps
Yeah.
the content relevant. I don't have to sit there and think of something to say. Always with me, I'm a visual guy, so I like to just post what it is, but then I forget about like putting some context to the story of the video that person's watching. I don't have to do that with stories, right? And it's made me more comfortable with just turning the camera around.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, you're going to overthink it and you're not going to post it. That's probably one of the best pro tips I can give you is just post it and let it roll. You know what I mean? And then just shrug your shoulders and who cares? You don't have to, I'm going to butcher a quote. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Yeah.
Right. And so Zig Ziglar. And so it's like, you've got to start somewhere, and you're not going to be great right off the bat. So I know a lot of people are doing video now, but if there was a percentage of the people doing video, I would say that it's probably like 5% of the
yeah.
business. So if there's 1 point something million people and there's 100,000 people in one of the like RETV, or not 100,000, but 1,000 people in RETV or however many is there, you know, I mean, what's that percentage? You know, it's just kind of, it's very, very small of the people doing video that are comfortable doing it, right?
I mean,
then you have
that
to
group
ask
has probably a
yourself,
higher percentage of people actually doing video, but as a whole, for the industry, yeah, it's significantly smaller.
yeah, well, I'm in a bunch of them now, or a few different ones, like YouTube for real estate agents, and there's whatever else. And it seems the people are interacting. And then I see, you know, someone asked the other day, it's like, what realtors do you follow? And they popped a couple out, and I'm like, oh, those people do good videos, you know. And it's if they have 3,000 people, it's the same people interacting all the time. Everybody has to realize that not everybody wants to interact.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that want to lay in the shadows and get ready to get prepared to possibly do video, to get ready to, you know, execute whatever. Not a lot of people are ready to just execute and take on video.
Yeah.
It made me super nervous at first. I used to turn my camera around and sit down by the river.
Take 52.
In my van down by the river. No, but I used to, you know, sit down there. Yeah, and I would have like 85 videos, right? And then I just realized that after I would shoot 85 videos, number one video was always the best because I wasn't thinking about it. I just turned around and did it. You know? And so then there's the whole go live thing. Let me give you a tip there is don't go live if you don't have anything compelling to say. You know? And do me a favor too. Stop going live at concerts.
Free show.
Concerts are okay. Local bands, live local bands, don't go live. Nobody cares. I'm sorry. I got to say that. Somebody, if they listen to this podcast, which they might because they're a realtor, keeps going live when his like brother's band, and it's just absolutely noise. And it's Blair Witch Project with a lot of noise.
Now, if you're going to put the UFC fight on again, I'll watch that.
Yeah. Which you can go to, what's that one app? It was the first live streaming one.
Cody?
No. It was a live streaming app. What was it? It has blue little icon with like a red dot in it. What is that?
I don't know.
Anyway, so that one had the best. That one still has the best. You can go live, but I watched all the fights on there.
Tubi?
No, I'll think of it in a minute. So let's get on to single property websites. We already did that?
No.
Those are like the little secret killers because you can market to those, put a lot of money, put any money behind it, but, you know, create the landing page, you know, capture people's data. You can post the pictures, the video, do all that stuff. And as soon as it sells, leave it up. You already own it for the year. Just redirect it to your website. And so it just keeps all that information, and then you can update it with like sold, and any, you know, other kind of information on it, but have it redirect back to your website. That way, you know, for more properties just like this, click here.
That's smart.
Or don't even leave the landing page on there and just direct that address to your website. So now you're having more pages out there, or websites.
Yeah.
More
addresses that'll
opportunities.
link back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have how many web addresses do I own?
I don't even want to
URLs do I own?
count. A lot.
I seriously have 20, 25 of them.
Oh, more.
You
than
know?
that. I think there's more than that.
But I have
everything's
everything
redirected.
Everything's redirected right back to our website. And so if
Yeah.
it helps with SEO, that's great. If it, or it helps with, you know, finding our websites, that's great.
Yeah,
Or
Your website,
it's stuff that I want to break
phones, everything's redirected.
into. Everything, man.
Yeah.
We got it all going back to one place is the way it should be. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, I was ripping on Think Like a CEO, but like that's what a CEO would think of, right? Is that you want all your communications coming into one hub.
Yeah.
Right. So why not? So the more that you grab, if I choose to, like, we've been offered money. We got offered $5,000 for realestateontherocks.com.
Hard pass.
Yeah. I mean, most people would be like,
Is that your highest and final?
yeah. Well, I had when I was with KW, my group's name, you know, is KW United Group. And there's other KW United groups out there. I think Cody Gibson's group is the United Group, you know, and whoever else. But I got contacted by somebody from New York. Same thing. We'll give you $5,000 for your URL. Now I'd sell it to them because I mean, it just sits there. It's
Yeah.
redirected. Anybody that knows that goes back to an email to look who they did business with, and then they can click on the link. It takes you right over to Snowburger Realty Group now. You know, snowburgerrealty.com.
Yep.
And so, you know, I'll always keep that. So,
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, if it's a group in New York, I'll happily sell it to them because if somebody ends up over there, they're not going to do business from Texas to New York.
Yeah.
So, not really worried about that. Is that enough on single family websites or single property websites?
We're good.
Cool. Print ads and billboards. Billboards, I think, work. Billboards work in the fact that it helps you build that top of mind awareness, that mind share with people, that they see you every single day. And so then they could start putting a face with the name. And then when you see the other in conjunction with your mail outs, any type of social media ads that you're doing, possibly a website, or if you're doing community events or anything like that, it can tie you in.
It reinforces that.
Typically, people don't roll by a billboard and see your phone number and say, I'm calling that guy right now. I need to buy a house right now. I'm sure it's happened in the past.
The only ones I ever remember are the ones that you drive by and it says advertising works. You just read it. You know, it's like, oh man, they got me.
Do billboards work? They just did. Yeah. I actually saw that one like 2 days ago. It's out in Georgetown. But that's a great thing. Print ads, same thing if you're doing bus stops, things like that. Like when I go down to Corpus Christi and sell real estate, they actually, I don't see it here, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe they just kind of blend in with the landscape of downtown Austin, but I don't see the bus signs or we have little huts, right? Like little bus huts.
Bench covers.
Yeah, bench and a cover, in Corpus Christi, they have the old school, like actual benches still.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. And so I see that there's realtors all over all those,
Of course.
and so, it's like, people have argued in the past, like, well, people buying a bus aren't buying homes. I was like, it's not necessarily for that. It's
people
by the
driving
people that
by.
drive by
somewhere.
them, drive by, walk by, like if you're on side of a bus as well.
And people riding public transportation by houses.
Yeah.
That's so absurd. I don't know. Maybe because I'm from California, there's a lot of people who use mass trans.
Well, same here.
And so a ton of them commute because they live outside of where they work in the suburbs or different areas. And it's just easier. You don't have to worry about traffic or driving the car.
Right. It was
gas,
the same
everything.
thing here, is that mass trans becoming a big thing here. And they, years ago, they started with the train here that goes from one side of town to the other. And during peak rush hour traffic, the train's a lot faster to get to downtown to back where we live is Northwest Austin.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier, but now they're doing more train tracks because more people want it available. Before, that train for years was empty.
Really?
Empty. And then there wasn't really a system where you could purchase a ticket and just get on. Nobody would ever purchase the ticket and they would just get on. Because nobody was there to collect the ticket or call you out if you didn't have one, right?
Dang.
And then they started putting a cop on board, and things like that. Then people still weren't buying tickets because they realized the cop wasn't asking them for the tickets. They were just there to break up any kind of fights. And typically they checked in around 10 o'clock at night because of all the drunks riding it from downtown Austin back to wherever they were going. So they were there for that, right? And so now I think they have a better system at it. So they've been able to collect some revenue for it. So mass trans is getting bigger in metropolitan cities like Austin, Texas, is fixing to reach over the next 10 years about 2 million people. Yeah. It's definitely going to be a thing. So I think that billboard ads and things like that can be, that source of, they can be valuable to you if you do them right. But it's never going to be the billboard. It's never going to be the park bench. It's never going to be the side of a bus that gets you the business. It's going to be, what are you doing with it, right? Yeah. So what are you coupling with that advertising? Are you hitting the same area with some of the local shops around and have your advertisements in there? Are you targeting that? Well, I guess you can't target anymore. Action. But yeah, I mean, just like, what are you doing for that neighborhood? Are you sending out the same mailer that has the exact same picture on it? Or are you sending out like a new picture that you have, and on the bus is your old headshot from 10 years ago? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so will they recognize, you have to keep all your marketing consistent, by the way. There's another little tip for you, is keep everything consistent. Your message consistent, your jingle consistent, your picture consistent, your logo consistent. Everything has to stay the same, and that's what building a brand is all about. So we'll do a podcast on building your brand here soon, and I'd like to bring somebody in to help out with that. Yeah. And then Matterport 3D tours. We used Matterport. It was a part of our old office that when we took a listing, they would send Matterport out to us and just bill us $50. Mm-hmm. Nice. Which wasn't bad. I'd pay $50 for Matterport any day. Yeah. 3D tours, I don't click on them much, but I'm sure consumers do. That's pretty cool to have a walkthrough from the front door through the whole property. However, it does eliminate you really getting that tour, right? Or that showing. Do you think so or not? It's a double-edged sword, a lot of people think. It kind of eliminates the need for the agent any further also, because they being the consumer, had the problem was like, they don't have a search problem, right? Mm-hmm. So they go for it. They search a property. They could check it out. They could check out the pictures. The next step would typically be to call an agent to get them into the property. Now we've given them this elaborate 3D tour that gets them in the property. And it's the same thing as like parasocial behavior, is that your brain is seeing it, taking in the information the same way. If you're walking down the hall and you're virtually walking down the hall, your brain sees it the same way.
Yeah.
Yes, no?
A lot of
Marshall's looking confused.
a lot of my clients are always skeptical. They're like, I got to see it in person because I know what kind of fish lenses these photographers use and stuff like that.
Okay, so say they go do that and they use or whatever. It's got this great tour. They watch it. They go look at the property also, and they're like, you know what? This is just like the tour. I'm not seeing anything new. Now you've eliminated the agent, right? So thinking about it a little in depth here, but I think it's still valuable to have.
Pictures make things look really nice. I've had recently a couple people say, like, man, they really sold this house with those pictures because walking through it is not the same as seeing it online.
No. And walking through it is different too because you get to actually be there for the experience. You can touch it, which you can't do with virtual.
Smell it.
You can smell it. That's a big one. It's like you can smell it. You can see what the neighborhood's like. I'm sure there's not a 3D tour of your neighbor's house or how they're living or if there's a broken down Camaro in the front yard with all the wheels off.
I think it'll help.
You might want to know that.
I think I think people are looking at it wrong. I think these tools will help consumers significantly with self-eliminating a lot of homes that
Garbage.
they don't want.
It might even make it easier on the showing agent.
I think it will streamline in the long run because people get in there, they'll go and look around, they'll get to read, especially when people put more content in there, like the size of the rooms, if they can actually like represent how big they are,
right?
And then see like closet space and stuff. Like for some reason, people have expanded the amount of stuff that they have, but builders are shrinking the size of like closet space and things like that, which is super frustrating. But if you can visually go through and scan that stuff, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good fit. I think this is going to be a good fit. Let's walk it.
Right.
Versus some other ones like, this feels too small looking around it. Then you can cut out I want to see 20 properties today, over the next, 2 days, those people, and then narrow it down.
Right.
I think it'll improve in that way.
Right. Virtual staging. We've seen some classic examples of this. I think someone posted one.
Overdoing it.
Yeah.
Well, no. Remember the one that they just posted that had like the bikes on it and stuff, and it just looked like there was floating bikes in the air. And do you remember that one?
Yeah. It's not that challenging of a system to use, but you have to like
it was for this guy.
Stage it.
It was for this guy, and the guy ended up actually what I believe was someone said he got fired from the listing. I wouldn't have been mad as the consumer. I'm sorry, as the seller, because he got so many eyes on the property.
Yeah.
Right. It was one of those things where it was a horrible virtual staging job, but then it went viral, and 100,000+ people saw it. You know, and then 100,000+ people plus their clients saw it, or 100,000+ agents plus their clients saw it, right? Mm-hmm. And then they see it. So apparently, I don't know, I have to go back and look, but I heard a couple different things. Was that he got fired for it, which I wouldn't have fired him. No. That's pretty silly. I heard that he got fired from his broker. But this is the gossip segment of our show. But heard he got fired, and I didn't agree with any of it. It was a horrible job. He should have learned how to use the stuff, but it was pretty funny. It actually made me crack up. Yeah. But there was the serious stuffy agents that I mentioned earlier were just kind of like, this has no place for our business. This cheapens our business. This is why people are fighting our commissions, like all this other stuff. It's just kind of like, look, the guy tried a new system. He was horrible at it, and I doubt he's going to be doing it
even good marketers
again.
struggle to get probably that many eyeballs.
I'm not going to slap that guy in the good marketing category, but you're
no. But I mean, even if you're
right.
very purposeful of it, like sometimes you just don't get a ton of views. If you make a mistake and then a ton of people are talking about it, you're probably going to triple the amount of eyeballs on that property than you would normally see, even if it was killer pictures, perfectly staged digitally.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those ones where your backfire worked out for you and your So. And if anything, the guy could have gotten fired, but if you've got a listing agreement, you're not getting fired. Yeah. You know what I mean? You have a contract. So we let people out of contracts all the time. However, no, we don't all the time. That sounds bad. But in the past, we've had clients want to take off the market or whatever else, and that's not technically in the contract. So we let them take off the market as long as they're going to list with us in the future, correct? So
it's funny though that you'll get people who will criticize somebody's digital staging abilities or all this stuff and tell them how horrible it is.
Well,
but yet have zero concept of how to do things. I can't tell you how many times I had to help somebody with the most fundamental pieces of their IT stuff. They just had no clue about it.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. At least they're asking for help. But I mean, the level of people who criticize compared to the people who actually are competent in doing what they're criticizing about blows me away.
Unfortunately,
I used to work at a help desk for people calling up having problems with their computer, and our first number one diagnostic was, have you turned the computer on?
Yeah.
Is it on? Have you made sure it's on?
Yeah.
Because
Is it plugged in?
Yeah, plugged in. Is it on? Does it got power? Because a lot of times they just didn't know how to turn it on.
Yeah,
People miss
Kim,
juice.
I like the one that was the Microsoft one where the guy just lost his mind, but it was have you checked the power on the computer? And they're like, well, hold on, can you turn a light on and see behind it? Is everything, are these plugs in? He's like, I can't turn the light on, the power's out. And this help desk guy lost it on this person. Like it is like it was a recorded call. He's like, he just started screaming. I'm pretty sure he got fired.
You're probably gonna get fired for that.
I'm pretty sure he got fired.
I'm telling you that you'd be surprised, or maybe not, but the level of like people just miss things. Oh, so over the past, like not last weekend, the weekend before, right? I was up in at Fort Hood doing some training, right? They had the M4s, smaller ones.
You got to take the safety
sight
off.
No, not even that. So the rear sight pops up, right, and flips down. And I told him, I'm like, hey, make sure you pop that up. If you don't have a sight on your weapon, pop that up so you can shoot with it. I was like, you can't zero your weapon with the front sight post only. And one of my guys who's helping me out on the range, he's a former infantry guy. And he's laughing. He's like, why are you, come on. Like, who's going to forget to do the rear sight post? I'm like, you say that, watch. And so the whole group that, that was there, they're all laughing and stuff. And like, oh, of course, no one's going to do that. He comes back to me. He's like, bro, it wasn't one of the ones I'm watching. A couple people down. He's like, they were shooting all over the place. He's like, and safety realized that the guy or girl didn't have the rear sight aperture up. I was like, I told you that. He's like, I didn't believe you. I was like, people miss fundamental things. They just overlook things or have no concept of what's going on to pay attention to little things.
Cameras. When I got the new Canon M50,
Yeah.
I was sitting there playing with it, and I shot some shots with it.
Yeah.
And then like come back out of the restaurant we were at, and I go and I put the cap back on, everything else, and I grab it out to take some quick pictures, and I turn it on, and I've got this LED screen's black, and I'm like, oh my god, this thing, like, did I break it? Is it broken? Is it this, and this? And I think it was actually you. Was like, the cap's on it, dude. And I was like, that's not what I was talking about. Completely what I was talking about. Like, and I'm like, of course I know the cap's not off, like, what an idiot. I was like, I can't believe I just did that, But, all right. So, blog writing. Blog writing is powerful. If there was anything that I wish I could do better in this business, it'd be blog writing.
I'm horrible at it. Looking at James' department there.
Yeah. And
so use Grammarly, because Melanie comes after me with a baseball bat every time I misspell anything or grammatically incorrect.
What? I'm gonna throw Melanie under the bus. She goes after you after she runs Grammarly on it and sees all the mistakes.
Probably. She saved me quite a few times though. She's like, "Did you mean to say this?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." She's like, "That's not what you wrote."
I'm the worst.
I look at them
I'm the absolute worst on it because I do most of the stuff on my phone, and so I type real fast. But I realize that every time I try to say on, it says in. I just do constantly stupid things, or I leave stuff off. Like we had some yesterday. It was like instead of the, I kept, or instead of they, I kept putting the, and just whatever. And I'm sending this to a $4.5 million buyer, right?
Yeah.
And so the email that I'm sending is actually going to the $4.5 million seller, right? And so, and it turns out like he's a communications, neurolinguistic psychologist, blah, blah, blah. So what he's really mastered in his life is, I would say, is
reading between the lines.
The English language and why people write things like that, So one of those people, you ever wrote been next to a guy at a bar, and he's like, hey, he like can analyze your handwriting.
Yeah.
And so like, he's like, hey, write this sentence out for me. And so boom, he's like, well, this is what I come up with. Like you're depressed, you're this. So you're just like, no, I'm not.
Beer.
One of my old soldiers, he did that too. He was an MP and did the interrogation and stuff like that. And he was doing that to one of the officers, and she was telling her about the stuff, and he's like, she blew her mind. It's crazy what you can see just from writing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. This guy was pretty much spot on with me. He didn't really tell me I was depressed, because that's one thing I don't think I am, is depressed. But
but back to blogging.
Yeah.
You don't have to just do it for your website. You can contribute to all. I mean, do it for free, but provide content for other websites as an expert in your area or topic that you are familiar with. There's a website.
Do it for your community.
Help journalists.
Right.
I think it's Hero. Help journalists out or something like that, or reporters out. And then it basically you contribute to answer any questions that they might have.
Right.
And stuff like that. But yeah, community stuff, anything you have
Yeah,
familiarity
because
with.
what most people don't know is that a lot of the SEO, search engine optimization, comes from these days is keywords, right? So if you're writing an article and you're posting it in a blog that's hitting online, Google's looking for those specific words that you're blogging about. So if you're saying Austin, Texas, in real estate and Snowburger Realty Group, in buying new homes, and then someone searches new homes in Austin, Texas, and blah, blah, blah. I always say blah, blah, blah. I've got to stop that habit. But
Yada,
it's
yada.
like they come up with this specific sentence that they search, and if it's in your blog enough, your stuff rockets to the front of the front page of that search, right? And so the more people that click on it, the more relevant it is, the more you stay on that front page. That's how you can get that organic reach. And so a lot of people scratch their head and like, what are you talking about organic reach? Once again, we should probably have a podcast where we bring someone in that can really articulate on organic reach and explain it to people, because I'm not the guy to do it. However, we'll end this up with pay-per-click. Pay-per-click is PPC. PPC is pay-per-click, right? So that's like Google ads, even Facebook ads.
I don't know how that's at the bottom, because the vast majority
Because
of
it costs money.
Yeah, but so does social. Oh well, if you're not
Look at
paying
this
for it,
graph here.
Right.
This goes.
yeah, if you're
None of
not
these
paying for
here-
stuff, then yeah,
The biggest print ads and billboards are probably the most expensive thing on here. A billboard can be anywhere from $300 to $3,000 a month.
more. I just looked that up. I was like, oh, because I don't think billboards. I've heard several people say billboards and stuff like that is still significantly overpriced for the value it brings to you. And so right here for
It
this
depends on
says,
location too. If you're in the city or if you're out
this
in the
person,
country.
this website says they have 8 billboard panels available in the Austin area, with more coming online every month. Shocking. The average cost is $5,335 per billboard. Allows advertising to reach a number of the 825,740 people within the city. And it says your CPM is roughly $7.16.
Right.
That's not entirely accurate. But it's just eyeballs.
One of my clients,
But that's a lot.
One of my clients is a general manager of a Chevy dealership. It's the number one Chevy, one of the number one by volume Chevy dealerships in the United States, right?
Yeah.
And he's on every corner of a billboard here. But he couples that with some of the most annoying commercials you've ever seen, right? So there's a few car guys here in town that they drive you up the wall with their commercials, right? And so they've got the commercials then coupled with the strategically placed billboards that stretch all the way down into San Antonio and go almost all the way into Dallas. So you see this person's face repeatedly. So if you are coming for a stay here, then you're watching local television. All of a sudden you're being bombarded with his ads, you know? And so all they're doing right there is building what? Top of mind awareness. And so now they're getting into your head. People go to the lot just to meet him. That's that parasocial behavior. He has celebritized himself to when he goes to dinner, everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
You know, when he walks into a room, everybody knows who he is. He's just coming back off a Vegas thing to where he's like one of the main guys, and people know this dude everywhere in the world because he is one of the number one Chevy dealers in the world, right? And so he's done that by being a general manager and then taking it to the next level. Now he owns part of a dealership. You know, and it's pretty hard to get into ownership of a dealership, but he was able to is he strategically put himself in there, and it was all from marketing, but it was mass billboards. And I'm not talking 5 billboards. I'm talking probably 100 billboards, you know, and if they're $5,000 a piece, you know, they're probably less. They probably have some big deal. But then on top of that, the commercials that they're doing, and every month he's coming up with a specific commercial that pertains to, like he did a Super Bowl one, right?
Yeah.
The rodeo's coming up here in town in Texas, you know, in our rodeo and the Houston rodeo, right? And so commercials are about, you know, rodeos right now. And so every month he does something that's consistent. Kickoff for baseball season, they do a baseball commercial where he dresses up, you know, and he's real big in the veterans things, right? So he's a veteran, and he really mentions that. Some people, that bugs me that he brings up that he's a veteran. And it's just like, why? He's using it to his, he's using it to where other veterans want to do business with veteran-owned businesses, right? And so now he's an owner of a now he's the owner. Why not? You know what I mean? Like I don't say that because I'm not a veteran. However, we've got a veteran on our team, which is you. We've got an active person on our team, right? And so, you know, why would we not pitch that to people that want to do business with veterans only.
Yeah.
You know, and so why not? I mean, we get people that want to do business with us for certain reasons, I'm sure. You know, why not? But Alex has done a great job with the billboards and the pay-per-clicks and all that other stuff. And then now, yeah, I mean, if you look at the ads, like if you're on a computer, if you go to their website, right? Now you've got that trailer. You know, when you go to another website and at the bottom, you see like that person's ad again, that's AdSense, right? So that goes and follows you everywhere. Right. So that's a very strategic campaign. They've hired somebody to do that. There's a broker that does it here too. Right. And so I usually mark their ads irrelevant because they pop up in my feed all the time. So I go to little Google and say, hey, like this is spam, you know, basically, because it is to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, but that's a well-known broker that does that. And so that's really our plan too, is we're on a smaller level right now where we're going to do these things, and I'll put more money towards marketing because the wider net we can cast, the more drilled down we can get to a specific area. Like we sell real estate in Austin, Texas. We sell it everywhere. We specialize in Williamson County.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, man, we've let this one run a little bit long today, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We always like to mention Mike Harrell. Mike Harrell is at Guaranteed Rate. He is our preferred lender to the show and to my real estate team here in Austin, Texas. You can reach Mike Harrell at Magic Mike at 88000. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like button, leave us a 5-star review. We've got a free item coming up soon. We're going to decide what that is, but if you leave us a review, take a screenshot of it, send it over to us, and we're going to reward you with something nice. So get back to us, and I'm just going to get out of here and stop talking. See ya.
I'm out.